John Hope Bryant is a highly successful entrepreneur, a philanthropic investor, financial literacy expert, and the founder and CEO of Operation Hope, an organization that works to make the free enterprise system work for poor and working class communities. And he's also a best-selling author. His new book is called The Memo, 5 Rules for Your Economic Liberation. And welcome back to the show.
Hey, man. Nice to be here.
Good seeing you. We've talked about this beforehand, this notion of the memo. What is the basis for you when you say we have not gotten the memo?
We're brilliant. We've been doing so much with so little for so long, we can almost do anything with nothing. Anytime the rules are published, the playing field is level. Sports, entertainment, the arts, we kill it. But after the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln, 1865, created a bank called the Freedmen's Bank to teach freed slaves about money. He was killed the next month. Nobody knows about the bank. Frederick Douglass tried to run it, put $10,000 of his own money into the bank. People think he was an abolitionist only. He was a businessman, owned property in Baltimore, worth $5 million, this man. And when it failed, he said the failure of this bank did more to set freed slaves back in America than 10 more years of slavery. My point is, and you goes back to, now you go to 1968 with Dr. King and Ambassador Andrew Young in Memphis, Poor People's Campaign. King gets killed on the balcony as he pivots toward poverty. So my point is this: it's not like we're dumb or we're stupid. It's what we don't know that we don't know that's killing us. What we think we know, we never got the memo. There's a memo on money. There's a memo on capitalism and free enterprise and ownership and wealth creation. Power, wealth, and aspiration are things no one teaches you. I wanted to deliver the memo, so we renamed the Freedmen's Bank. Secretary Jack Lew did, but at my request last year. It's across from the Treasury Department now. Your folks can Google search that right now and see we did that. But then we put Hope inside locations on the ground.
They already know. We were there.
Yes, you did. You were. So we're raising credit scores 120 points because nothing changes your life more than God or love than moving your credit score 120 points today.
Now, here's what's interesting when we talk about this idea of not getting the memo. So somebody will say, well, yeah, but that was Madam C.J. Walker and that was A.G. Gaston. There were different, yes, there were different individuals. What you're talking about is a collective. And not just a collective, but also a generational mindset that goes from one generation to the next.
It's also a problem that we got to go back 150 years to think about, whether it's Frederick Douglass or whether it's Gaston or Madam C.J. Walker, or we keep talking about this riot in a little place in Ohio. It's not like this has happened last week. Where's our Bill Gates? Where's our Steve Jobs? That's in the last 10 years, right? So the fact that we have these stories that are really anecdotes and not symptomatic in our whole community is the problem. Here let me drop the mic. The average credit score in America is 700. 15% of white people have a credit score below 620. That's basically Trump's voters. Those are rural, white, poor, distressed. They're dying faster than anybody else. 44% of black folks are brilliant people below 620. End of subject. You can't access the credit markets. You can't get a home loan. You can't be a small business owner. And then when you try, when the markets push the envelope, like in 2009, and give you a loan you shouldn't have, we default because we don't have the tools, the memo, to do for ourselves. So what gives me great sort of hope is that not like we got the memo and we screwed it up. We never got the memo. And we want to deliver it at scale. We will deliver it at scale.
And for the person, at home who goes, okay, so I mean, I hear you, John, talking about 120 credit points, but that's real in terms of, because when you talk about the amount of money that we spend on interest, when it comes to cars, when it comes to houses, when it comes to the other things that we buy with credit, that's additional money that can be invested, that can be saved, that is going back to a company because, again, of that credit score. Equifax is going through all of their drama when it comes to the data breach affecting 143 million Americans. And for so many of us, credit is the thing that scares us to death.
So now you're getting closer to the issue. I'm not talking about credit scores. I'm not even talking about capitalism. And I could give a flying hoop about credit scores. Financial literacy is somewhat boring, and I'm sort of the guy who got the federal government to make it the law. This is literally how the world works. So there's two things I want to say. One thing is that if you don't have inner capital, all the money in the world won't save you. So that's self-esteem and confidence. So after 350 years of slavery, 100 years of Jim Crow, ending in 1970, not 1870. Where we've been told we weren't anything for 400 years. It's actually rational that 80% of us are clinically undiagnosed depressed. Now, if that's the case, and we didn't get the memo on money, we never learned about free enterprise and capitalism, we're depressed, distressed, unhopeful, and don't have the tools to compete. Now you have a 500 credit score neighborhood that has a check casher next to a payday loan lender, next to a rent-to-own store, next to a title lender, next to a liquor store, and we don't even think there's anything wrong with it because it's a state of depression.
Because that's what we think is normal.
It's our norm. And Ambassador Young said to live in a system of free enterprise and not to understand the rules of free enterprise must be the very definition of slavery. I think we're living in slavery, economic slavery, right now. So, and by the way, that's white rural America too. So I'm not picking on anybody. I'm saying this is, like 80% of Americans are in the invisible class. We're not seen by power and we don't see how we're gonna get any. And that breeds resentment. And what I'm saying is there's a path forward. So one, this is about self-esteem and confidence before it's ever about money. It's about role models and environment. You hang around 9 broke people, you'll be the 10th. Who are we hanging around? Are we hanging around entrepreneurs? Are we hanging around philanthropists? Are we hanging around builders? Who are we hanging around? It's very important. And then what does that nurture? What are our priorities, right? So that's the first and probably the most powerful thing. And then that sort of defines how we spend our money, which is the point that you're making. But if I have low self-esteem, low confidence, crappy role models, a crappy environment, my aspirations in the toilet, I'm unhopeful, I'm probably going to spend my money in all the wrong places.
So somebody watching this, they're saying, I agree 100%. But I have no idea where to start.
Call me. My services are free. And that, I mean, we've opened 100 Hope Inside locations as of last week, the last one in Baltimore. And we're opening one every 2 weeks. Hope Inside of bank branches, including black banks. We're in the City National Bank of New Jersey, a black bank, in Whole Foods also in New Jersey. We work with Carver Bank and a lot of other black banks. We were founded the black bank at the South Central LA, Founders Bank in South Central. So we're in bank branches, grocery stores, big box retailers, houses of faith. We're in Atlanta Police Department because the police officers are filing for bankruptcy at twice the national average, making $48,000 with a gun and a badge and stressed out. That can't be good news for us. We're in Atlanta public schools because the teachers are stressed out. Most people are living from paycheck to paycheck and got too much month at the end of their money. Come to Operation Hope, acknowledge that you have a problem. There's no shame in that game. Let us then, by the way, when you walk into a bank branch, Roland, they literally cannot tell you the truth by law and regulation. They're looking at your credit report. They know you're not going to be approved. Because of histories of redlining, which is real, now they're freaked out. So now they know you're 580. You apply for a mortgage. They can't tell you, please don't apply for this mortgage, for fear you're going to sue them. So they let you go through the entire process. Here's the magic. I'm now in their lobby. And my mission, because I don't work for them, my people don't work for them, they work for me. So you come over to me, we go, girl, your credit report is like a bus accident, okay? We have a nice laugh, and I say, what's that? I don't know. Great, that's an error. Let me challenge that for you. When I challenge it, they must remove it. That pops your credit score 40 points. Now you go from 580 to 620. Now you're finally in the game. We get to 650 because now you have a charge off. We're going to call the people who charged that off 10 years ago. I know that somebody bought that for 5 cents on the dollar. You know the way the game is played. It was a $1,000 bill for a phone bill. It's now 50 bucks. We offer the guy, he wants 100 bucks. We offer him 200 bucks. Because I want his cell phone number, his direct phone number. I want to make him look like a hero. So he writes a letter on behalf of my client to say she's paid as agreed. And when it shows back up on a credit report, I want to write another letter. That's how you play this new game. We get a credit score up another 30 points. Now she's 650. What happens to her self-esteem? What happens to her confidence? Her trust in the system, her belief in herself. This is something actually you can measure. I can't measure racism, man. I can't get in somebody's heart and change the way they feel about me.
Hold tight. Well, first of all, again, the memo. Pull the book up, please. The memo. Pull the book up. Pull the book up. The memo, 5 Rules for Your Economic Liberation by John Hope Bryant. Trust me, you want to get that book.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no.
That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false. You are wrong.
Unfiltered.
He wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out. because you got a fight on your hands.
NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV1.